Yo, what's up, everybody? It's the Outlaw John Rocha here on The Nation, here live here on the channel. Whoa, let me switch over to this one. Yeah, that's better. Live here on the channel, just random impromptu live moment here, because live episode here, because real quick, it's going to be like 15-20 minutes because we've got hot mic coming up at 3, and I know Jeff's not going to go step by step through this video, so I thought I would do this here with you all. For those of you who don't know this story, if you haven't read the title of this, you're just randomly coming and hanging out with me. We are talking about this new apology video that Drew Barrymore released. Now, full disclosure, I am a SAG actor, and I put that on all of my recent videos here on the Outlaw Nation channel, saying we support the WGA strikes, the SAG AFTRA strikes. I try to focus on only talking about the actors and the directors and the writers that are involved in projects right now, and that's what I'm focusing on my channel. But of course, for those of you who don't know, the Drew Barrymore situation is kind of blown up here in Hollywood. All the stuff going on with people crossing lines, people of these daytime talk shows. And we just saw Bill Maher make the announcement that he was also going to come back because he's a self-satisfied prick. And so he's like, fuck it, I'm going to cross lines. I don't give a shit. Fuck the writers, basically. And so to me, now we have Drew Barrymore. Now, this is the reason the Drew Barrymore thing is a big deal. I know The View is doing it. The Talk is doing it, all of that. But Drew Barrymore has always conveyed herself as someone who is sweet and nice and really cares about people. And, I've never had anything negative to say about Drew Barrymore as a person. Has she always been a great actress? No, I wouldn't say that. Certain things, yes. Certain things, no. But so when she did the talk show, it wasn't a surprise. That it was a success, it wasn't a surprise. From like Rosie to Ellen to Kelly Clarkson to Drew Barrymore, there's a litany of daytime talk shows where a performer becomes a host and they find success doing it, right? There's always seems to be drama, though, in all of these places, but they always find success. Well, she initially, Drew Barrymore, stood with the writers, stood with the actors on the strike when it was first announced, did it for a few weeks, at least longer than Ellen did. I think Ellen was like 2 or 3 days before she crossed the line. And I put out a tweet and I put out a statement on my social media saying that she didn't stand by the writers, didn't stand by the actors for long enough in this whole situation. Because the thing is this, you got to understand this, the AMPTP wants to splinter us, wants to destroy us. And they have waited for performers to break ranks because they know Hollywood people, they know Hollywood performers. And the Hollywood performers cannot resist the spotlight, especially when they've kind of reestablished themselves in a new medium. Look, no one was going to see Drew Barrymore movies anymore. No, she wasn't filling theaters. She was always accompanied by another person who was filling the theaters or doing Netflix movies. And so, look, it happens. It's the cycle of an actor, always the up and down. I got no complaints about that or any qualms about that. I understand that, and having been an actor, never remotely coming close to achieving the success of Drew Barrymore, I understand what that's all about. But this is what the studio has been waiting for. Now, so I see some of you have been like, oh, well, she has to feed the crew has to eat. And I get that. Of course, that matters. 100% that matters, and it's important for these people to be able to feed themselves or feed their families or whatever. And please don't get it twisted. I get it. The lower level of production people certainly are dependent on this stuff to pay their bills, but Drew's got money, dog. And so there could have been a different path for her to take, but she's saying she's doing this. Now, what people don't understand is it's short-term thinking. And this is what the AMPTP and the studios are relying on, which is short-term thinking. If she breaks, then the other ones will break, then more will break, and then the assholes like Bill Maher will break and really want to kick the door open, and then everyone's going to follow suit. And so what was once a strong line like Braveheart, hold, if someone sticks the pole out ahead of time or someone takes their pole and goes home because they're afraid of the British, guess what? You're going to lose the fucking war. If too many people get up and take the poles and take off, or like they tried to do there before that first battle in Braveheart, get up and go like, you know what? We'll run and then we'll live. And he's like, yeah, okay, you'll live, but then it'll come back again. It won't change. And so this has been incredible to see how strong people have been through this whole thing. And so to see it kind of now starting to shake and starting to crack and starting to break because these people need to have their ego stroked. Please don't get it twisted. Yes, maybe there's an element of caring about the crew. We'll make sure they're fed. But it is really driven by the fact that all of these Hosts want to be on TV. They love to be on TV. Their brands are suffering without them not being on TV. They're not making as much money without them not being on TV or on screens. This matters, okay? I know we all want to hold hands and dance around the kumbaya tree, but this is Hollywood. And in Hollywood, that is not always the case. No matter how many black and white videos they make, that is not always the case. And so in this situation here, Drew Barrymore suffering a lot of pressure from writers picketing. Her own co-head writer yesterday in the Daily Beast came out and talked about how this is the wrong decision. Drew Barrymore still has time to make the right decision, and she's not doing it. And so she came out with this apology today. Oh, and by the way, a little background. 2 kids, students who tried to get into a Drew Barrymore taping, the first one that came back, they got thrown out because they were wearing WGA pins. And then it came out yesterday that security is now going through people's bags who come to these events to make sure they don't have any WGA paraphernalia. So when you get onto a TV screen or you get onto, an iPhone, whatever she was on, and start giving me the crocodile tears, when your security team is wrestling up people and rousting them up and grabbing their bags and searching through them, that's 2 different things that you're doing there. And they do not coexist as connective linear thoughts, right? And this is the frustrating part of it. No one's going to blow up the Drew Barrymore studio. This is the nonsense of the security aspect of it all. But people are going to call her out. They might sneak in as guests or as ticket holders and then call her out for what she's doing for sure. And if you're confident of your decision, if you stand by your decision, you don't need to do apology videos. You don't need to do all this stuff, but she did. So we're going to take a look at this apology video. And I'm going to take a drink here because I'm a little parched. So I'm going to bring up the apology video and we're going to go through it. It's about a 4-minute video, and we're going to take a look at it here and see what we got here from her. And this is a Drew Barrymore there. This is about a 4-minute and 5-second apology video. So let's take a look at it, and I'm going to break it down. As I'm going to try to do this the next 10 to 15 minutes here as we go through it. It's about a 4-minute apology video. So here we go.
I believe there's nothing I can do or say in this moment to make it okay.
Okay, so already right off the bat, there's nothing I believe I can do or say in this moment to make it okay, but I'm still going to go on for 4 minutes and try to do that. Okay.
I wanted to own a decision so that it wasn't a PR protected situation, and I would just take full responsibility for my actions.
Now let's look at the behavior, right? I want to own this decision so it's not a PR thing. Yet, look at how she's looking. She has no makeup on. She's wearing a simple sweater that's a muted color. And in behind her is just her simple kitchen with a TV in the back. So it's all made to look like she's just one of you. She's a regular person, just like you and I. She doesn't have millions and millions of dollars. Oh, yes, she does. And they don't want you looking through the window because then you'll see the beautiful pool, you'll see the hillside, you might see something that might convey wealth. I just saw Dumb Money, and there's a great scene where Seth Rogen has to deliver a testimonial on Zoom, and you see his PR people like tell him where to do this in the most like poorest looking place or simple looking place, so it doesn't look like a wealth. So here is the approach. So she's going to say it's not a PR thing, but look, this is very much a PR thing. Just like Ashton, just like Mila. Let's keep going.
I know there's just nothing I can do that will make this okay.
There is something she can do, and that is to not scab, to not come back, to not go forward. To how many people do you think are on her crew? It's not going to be hundreds of people. How many people are really struggling to pay their families or to pay the bills and feed their families? Find out how many there are. Go and figure out how much it is per month, and then give that money to the crew so they can pay their bills. So you support the strike and keep their families fed, and you've got that money. So, I mean, there is stuff she can do, but she's trying to play like, look, I'm sorry, I'm with you, but I'm sorry. It's just nothing I can do. There is stuff she can do for sure.
For those it is not okay with.
I
fully accept that. I fully understand that. There are so many reasons why this is so complex.
Complex? So
and I just
This is so complex, right? So already it implies by using that word, and look, she keeps looking over. I guarantee you there's something there, like some notes or something. What do you call those? A teleprompter, something. I guarantee there's something there that gives her notes to make sure she hits certain things. Complex implies, hey, you regular people, you're not going to be able to get this, but just trust me. Trust me. I'm sweetness. Trust me. And this, and look, I'm not trying to paint her as a nefarious person, but she's clearly wanting to do this from a place that seems to be, in my opinion, from her own ego, from her desire to be in the spotlight. So complex immediately is making you think, oh, well, is it too hard for me to get? Oh, is it? Oh, maybe there's layers to this I don't understand. It's very simple, actually.
Want everyone to know my intentions have never been in a place to upset or hurt anyone. It's not who I am.
Here come the tears.
I've been through so many ups and downs in my life.
So here it is. Here it is. The tears, and then referencing what we all know about Drew, and it's pretty terrible upbringing and the things she's endured for sure. That's 100% the truth, and in no way am I denigrating that, because her story is a pretty tough one. It's a hard story. It's a heartbreaking story. The drug addiction, the way she was treated as a young child actor. Certainly, she's endured a lot. But to use that as a reference to say she would never want to hurt, that's kind of trading in on your trauma. And that's a little bit, I don't know, just a little bit on the dirty side.
And this is one of them. I deeply apologize to writers.
And now here's the thing. She said, this is one of them, right? This is one of those moments where I'm feeling. So she's connecting this moment to her trauma moments, except those things were done to her. This is her doing it. This is her actively creating this situation. There's a difference. There's a difference here.
I deeply apologize to unions. I deeply apologize.
Just she's looking. What are you looking at? Are they bringing it up on the teleprompter?
I don't exactly know what to say, because sometimes when things are so tough, it's hard to make decisions from that place. So all I can say is that I wanted to accept responsibility. And no, I don't have a PR machine behind this.
That's not true. That's not true.
My decision to go back to the show, I didn't want to hide behind people. So I won't. And I won't polish this with bells and whistles and publicists and corporate rhetoric.
That's just an utter lie, that the only way to tell the apology is through bells and whistles and PRs and corporate rhetoric. That's not what she's doing right here. Is a version of PR people, PR publicists, rhetoric, and what have you. This idea that I can't explain it. It's just that I have to do it. It's just that I have to do it. I don't know what to say, but I'm going to do a 4-minute video where I don't know what to say.
I'll just stand out there and accept and be responsible.
So there's a cut.
There's a huge question of the why. Why am I doing this? Well, I certainly couldn't have expected this kind of attention.
That's a lie. She's got a big show. She's a very well-known name. To think that she wouldn't get kind of attention when everything she does on her show gets attention. She giggles and falls down and acts the fool or acts like a 10-year-old, and it's all over social media, and people are like, I love her. She's my favorite. So don't tell me you didn't know what the reaction was, or that you would somehow get a reaction. That's a falsity on so many levels. And then her saying just right now what she said here, like the big question of the why. It's not a big question. It's a very obvious question. Why? Like, it's a simple question. Why did you do it? Just explain it. And it's really simple. Just explain it. And that's not what's happening here. And the cut, I wonder why there was a cut there. You know, what was edited out of this apology? Let's go back a little. I don't want to miss anything.
Question of the why.
The why. Here we go.
Why am I doing this?
Right. Now, look how she imitates people asking this question. It's with a little bit of disdain, right? She's like, why am I doing this? There's a disdain there. So she's immediately, subconsciously painting the people who would ask her in a negative light. This is how these things work, man. You got to have your brain working. The analysis on this stuff is really deep. You have to understand people's behavior and characteristics. It's something I do well, to be honest with you. And so this is this thing that you see here. These are certain tells about a person's actual thoughts about certain things beyond the Hollywood created facade.
Well,
the laugh is a real big
thing. I couldn't have expected this kind of attention.
The laugh is almost a scoff. Yeah, they tell her to, okay, be serious.
We aren't going to break rules, and we will be in compliance.
You're already breaking, but that's not true. She's breaking a rule by going forward with this stuff. Because if you think that no writing is going to be involved in this, you're insane. And the other side of it is, if a producer or she writes, that's take a segment or writes interview questions or does anything that writers do on her show, they are scabbing. That's what it's called. It's not about, oh, well, why aren't people, they should be allowed to go back. And they should, no, great, go back. Nothing is scripted. Everything is improvised. Nothing is mapped out. Nothing is coordinated. Anything that a writer does, if anybody on that show does it who is not a WGA writer, they are not in compliance. That's why the WGA West and the WGA East came out and called her out on Twitter, just like they called out Bill Maher last night for the fallacy of that. They are not in compliance. Yes, great. You're not going to talk about struck work, but you know what you can do? Allude to it. You're not going to say, yo, I was maybe a part of a franchise, if you know, that may be out for you to see on. So they'll find ways around it that are cute to them and they're loopholes, but are really not good.
I wanted to do this because, as I said, this is bigger than me, and there are other people's jobs on the line.
You could keep them employed.
And since launching live in a pandemic,
here we go.
I just wanted to make a show that was there for people in sensitive times.
We're out of it.
I weighed the scales and I thought, if we could go on during a global pandemic and everything that the world has experienced through 2020,
this is really important now.
Why would this sideline us?
Right. So in her mind, right, and the way she's painting it, the global pandemic was huge. What's a strike? A strike is less. A strike is not that important. In comparison, it's not as big as a pandemic. You got to understand, these things are carefully constructed. She's playing it like it's off the cuff, but there are certain points. She keeps looking to her left because there's notes there. There are probably a teleprompter there. Her publicist is probably sliding stuff there. Little notepads are saying to say something. And this is what she's doing. She's trying to frame it as this is such a small thing. Why are people so upset? Well, for the 30 people that you're going to keep employed, there are thousands now that are in danger of losing what they've been fighting for and willingly losing work for and losing money for out on the picket lines out there in the world, just for you to be able to keep certain people that you know. And that's the problem in life sometimes, is that people go, you know what, if I can help my friends, I will help my friends, but fuck everybody else. And that's not how this works. That's not how it actually should work. Everyone's a human being. Just because you have a human or personal connection to them doesn't somehow give them more value in the overall scope of things. A writer that works for you, it doesn't have more value than a writer who's out on the picket lines. They are equal. And so to me, this is what's so frustrating. And the fact that you are saying, I want to care about these people, you are now putting the writers who are not working on your show in danger of coming back and getting charged less and getting paid less money, making and been asked to do more work. That's the possibility if the ranks break. The AMPTP has more cause to drown out the writers and the actors that are all protesting and essentially starve them out of this whole situation, because people like you want to go back to give 10 to 15 to 30 people a salary that you could pay out of your own pocket.
So I want to just put one foot in front of the other and make a show that's there for people, regardless of anything else that's happening in the world, because that's when I think we all need something that wants to be there.
Yeah.
Being very realistic.
She wants to be there. There you go.
So that is my why.
All right. And that's the apology. And that's what she basically said, that wants to be there is the giveaway, because she does want to do the show. Her ego is telling her to do the show. And this idea that she's the one, she's the Moses to the daytime people, watchers who are going to watch the show. I will bring you together to talk about this stuff, rather than honoring what's going on here. Because how many people who watch her show are the husbands and wives of union people? How many people who watch her show have parents who are in the union and have had to fight against corporate overlords or against corrupt people in power in order to get a decent wage, a living wage? And it's already come out how little the studios would have to pay these writers in order to meet the demands of the writers overall from their profit, and they're stubbornly and assholely staying in their lane and not willing to come across the line. And that's an unfortunate thing. So look, this apology, she's trying to essentially do some damage control here, but we are much more aware as a public. We're much more analytical as a public, for better or worse. You know, we're much more aware of people lying to us. We're much more aware of people preparing stuff and putting stuff out there to try to pull the wool over our eyes. And those of us who are in the SAG, those of us who are in the unions, we know when someone does something like this. We know if more people do stuff like this, it is going to undercut the power we have to negotiate. I mean, just this week, the WGA and AMPTP set up a time just to talk about when they might negotiate. If there was a real impetus for the AMPTP to negotiate, they'd be sitting there right there at the table 24/7 trying to hammer this out with the writers. And the Hollywood Reporter came out with a ridiculous article saying that, oh, you know, they're just, neither one wants to offer a counter proposal, when they had already, the WGA, a number of people in the negotiating committee came out and tweeted out that article and said, this is bullshit. The AMPTP knows it's their turn to counter. We've already countered. So, you know, you're seeing it all start to kind of shake a little bit, and we have to hold strong. We have to call these people out. I don't care how much shit I get for this video. We got to call people out and put them on notice for this kind of nonsense and make it aware and make them see people are willing to fight. People are willing to use their platforms like I am here to fight back against this kind of stuff and call it out. Look, I know she's probably a very sweet person. I know people know her in real life and really like her and love her and enjoy her, but she is making a massive mistake here, and it looks bad for so many people. So just putting that out there. All right, I should wrap it up because I got to get prepared for the hot mic in about 25 minutes, but I just wanted to jump on and do this because I know Jeff was not going to go minute by minute through the apology with me, and because it's my channel, I'm going to do what I want to do. I know we have this here. Broke Dude says, this is so cringe. This reveals how scripted these actors' responses truly are. It's even more gross to expect the public to believe her crocodile tears. Yeah, they are crocodile tears. Dare I say it? These are white women tears, and we've seen those used when people have been caught. When certain people are caught, you know, we've seen those used in certain situations. So enough already. Stop doing this stuff. Stop making these kinds of mistakes. Don't say there's nothing you can do. There's absolutely something you can do. Don't bring the show back and pay these people out of your own pocket, just like some of these writers or some of these hosts in the late night shows have done. Do that. Pay them out of your own pocket, you know? And so it's just an interesting situation. Yeah. So I'm just throwing it out there. So yeah, she had to keep looking at teleprompter, all these kinds of things. I'm reading your thing. So there's 180 of you joining me, or 200 of you joining me. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it. I got to wrap it up here because I want to get ready for the hot mic. We're going to talk more about this because Jeff may have a different point of view than I do about this. We'll see. But thanks so much for watching this video. I appreciate it, Matt. You guys are the best. Please remember to subscribe to the channel. If you're catching me for the first time, I do all kinds of content just like this here on the channel. So hit subscribe, hit that bell button so you see we're dropping all the content we do here. We just dropped the new episode of Geek Buddies earlier today. Hot mic coming up in 25 minutes. And the Jedi Way reviewed Ahsoka episode 5 yesterday. If you haven't watched that yet, you can take a look at that as well. And I have more content coming out this weekend. I just saw Haunting in Venice, which I really liked. So I'll have a review for that over the weekend as well. Okay, you guys are awesome. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. I appreciate you jumping on here and hanging out with me randomly in the middle of the day. You guys are the best. And I'll talk to you next time with another brand new review, reaction video, or analysis and breakdown video here on the Outlaw Nation, and specifically on the Nation. Peace.